Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Purple Friday Show, episode 228. Here after a Ravens win. They beat the Broncos handily Sunday afternoon. Lamar Jackson, another perfect passer rating game. Now ties Ben Roethlisberger with 4, I believe. And he's done it also in less games. I think I saw all the other games. Everyone was at least over 100 games or whatever. And he's done it in 88. He's done 4, and he's probably going to get at least one more before the year is out. So he'll probably break that record. So, great game. The defense. I was there at the game. The defense was better. It's a very low bar for the defense right now, especially considering like how bad they played in the secondary. There was still plenty of situations where the wide receivers are wide open. Bo Nix catching a touchdown off of Marcus Williams. I mean, look, I'm aging myself here, but for all of us that watch those and one mixtape videos, that was the equivalent of getting dunked on. And that happened is when you gotta leave the field, man. You let Bo Nix catch a touchdown on you. Like that was
inexcusable.
That was inexcusable. Like, I know. I didn't watch the Wired episode yet. I know it's up. I don't know if they covered that part, but I'm pretty sure on the sideline, the guys on defense, like, look, they haven't been playing great football, but in that moment, like, you let Bo Nix got a touchdown on you. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like, and I honestly think, I think even Marcus probably wonders why he's not playing so well, considering how even the last 2 years that he's been hurt, when he was healthy, he was getting interceptions. He was playing great center field football, but it just seems it's not working. They sit out Eddie Jackson for this game, and I think it was Darius Washington for the most part, playing at other safety position. But again, still just feels like guys are just out of position right now. Guys just not there. Roquan still struggling in coverage. A lot of the sacks on Sunday were mostly coverage sacks. They didn't get there within 3 seconds. I think the Ravens right now are last in the league when it comes to allowing quarterbacks to like sit in the pile like 4 seconds, 5 seconds, something crazy like that. A stat that they said it's the highest number of seconds in the pocket since the 80s. I think they said, of how long quarterbacks are sitting back there literally. And it doesn't matter what quarterback it is. Everybody is being able to just sit back there and do what they want. Now, luckily, again, he's a rookie quarterback, so they were able to he was overthrowing some passes and missed some things here and there. He missed some guys that were wide open. But, Trenton Simpson did get one of the sacks, I think, in the third or fourth quarter coverage sack. But then missing Travis Jones, missing Michael Pierce, and not getting any pressure up the middle. We saw Yannick Ngakoue got waived today. With all of the trade deadline, we were waiting for a pass rush to just emerge, onto the Ravens depth chart. Didn't happen. So we got Yannick, and now he's been waived. So they were hoping to claim him on waiver, claim him back on the practice squad when he clears waivers. They didn't add anything, and you saw, like, I think Zadarius Smith went to the Lions for like a 5th round pick. Preston Smith went to the Steelers for like a 6th round pick. So I feel like it was there. I don't know why nothing was done on that front. But I'll say this on the offensive side, look great. Zay Flowers, like you said, Zay Flowers is the number 1 wide receiver. Number 1. That play he made at the end of the second quarter, going into halftime, and there's literally 4 defenders like in front of him, and he just makes a little step, like a little spin step kind of thing to the right, and just runs down the sideline into the end zone. I remember watching that in the stadium. We all kind of thought he was going to be down, like, just get ready to kick a field goal, and he burst that thing right down the sideline for a touchdown. I was like, man. So, like, and Deontay was on the field, but I think he didn't get any targets, so he was kind of just, I guess, getting a feel for the formations and what his assignments and to do on run blocks and things like that. So I expect him tonight to probably get maybe a couple targets at least tonight. Andrews played well. The offense looks good, man. The offense just looks phenomenal right now. It does. And they didn't play their best football, I think, against the Broncos. They had some moments in that game where they looked kind of down, running the ball too. Derrick Henry still did his thing. But Lamar and his ability just to kind of make things happen. He did it. He does it several times. I feel like it makes the offensive line look a lot better. He doesn't give up a lot of sacks like he used to. Before he would run around for like 20 seconds and then just get sacked 10 yards around the line of scrimmage. And now he's throwing the ball away, or he's identifying something very quickly and just getting the ball out, or running upfield and getting a few yards and getting out of bounds, doing things like that. So statistically, they played the best defense in football on Sunday. That's what they say statistically. They're the best defense in football, and the Ravens, I mean, the offense did whatever they wanted to do. I think outside of that first drive, the Ravens scored like 4 or 5 straight times, which was like field goals and touchdowns. So, including getting a touchdown right before halftime and then getting another touchdown right in the beginning of the third quarter too. They pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the game. Like, it was I wish there's one of those things where I wish I was at home for that game, because that was the feet up game. That was the feet up game. And that was like, I could get my drink and just put my feet up. That was the feet up game. But it was nice. I also got to see Ray Rice. Saw him there. He was in the club area too. So I actually dapped him up. So that was nice. Seeing him there. I'm glad the Ravens kind of brought him back into the fold. Kind of brought him back in. I'm glad he's back there. So look, phenomenal game by the Ravens. Then they played a rookie quarterback. For what it's worth, the defense only gave up 10 points. You know, just like the Bills game, they only gave up 10 points, but there's still questions to be answered. So, what did you think about the game on Sunday?
Oh, this was definitely a kick your feet up game. I was enjoying. I was in my hotel room. I was out of town. You know, I had me some wings, had a nice glass of wine, and I was just ready to watch the game. I was in the mode. And then when I saw the offense come out, you know what, we didn't come out storming. When I saw the offense come out and start to be able to do whatever they want, I was like, okay, we're here. Is the defense going to step up? And then I saw the defense stepping up. I was like, okay, we're bending but not breaking. I was like, this is looking like something. But by the second half, I was like, okay, we're getting this team out of here. We're hitting on all cylinders. So I was able to just relax, you know, enjoy a glass of very expensive wine, and just kick my feet up and relax, just like you were saying, man. I wish I had a hammock. You know, I could have been live from the hammock, really. Yeah. But no, it was a good game. Good game. I would say great game, but man, that Bo Nix touchdown scarred me. I've never seen such a thing. On the defensive side of the ball, early on, we still struggle with the pass rush. He had all the time in the world, and I expected us, with him being a quarterback that holds on to the ball long, to be able to get back there and get some sacks early and often. And that just did not happen. We were letting running backs. I don't know what was going on, but you know, Javonte Williams, I knew he was a threat as a receiving back, but he was just wide open, and just running backs in general. They were wide open in the flats. They were wide open in the middle of the field, running those half-back angle routes. We had no answer for it. Cortland Sutton was looking like a top 10 receiver in different parts of the game. And even with all this stuff, you would think they put up 40 points the way I'm talking right now. But even with all that, we made some plays. You know, I want to talk about the first play of the game where Marcus Williams came looking like a bat out of hell, coming from a safety position to make a play. Yeah. And we saw just more physicality. We saw more physicality from Kyle Hamilton. I think Kyle Hamilton killed somebody in that game. I can't remember what play. But
the last 3 games he's done that now.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna find him sooner or later. Surprised they haven't. But Kyle Hamilton continues to kill players. So you know, defensively, I saw a lot of improvement. I mean, we gave up yards. You know, Bo Nix was looking sharp. But we didn't break. We held them to field goals. We didn't let them score touchdowns. So I'm pretty satisfied, but I'm still have concerns. I mean, because it's Bo Nix. It's a rookie quarterback without weapons. So, you know, I still have my concerns when it comes to that. I will say I am so impressed with our Darius Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to stay in that safety role and get snaps. He needs to stay there. Because I mean, I think PFF said like he was the fifth ranked safety over the weekend, and you saw that on tape. I mean, he was very physical. He was all over the field, and he just brought some energy to that secondary that we didn't see with Eddie Old Man Jackson back there. So it was good to see that. Um, Offensively, what can you say, man? Lamar MV3, bro. MV3. Um, you know, we had our moments on the offensive line where we didn't pass protect well. And also times where we had some stupid penalties. I mean, but I think that's the trend with the Ravens under Harbaugh, man. We're a penalty driven team, or we're just a team with high penalties. Um, Even Super Bowl year, we got a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
That's just Harbaugh. But man, they were pass blocking because as the game went on, Lamar had all times to throw the ball, make great throws. He really didn't. I mean, he really didn't have to like scramble. He ended up with like 3 rushing yards? Was that what it was? I remember he was -8 for most of the game.
Four rushing yards. Yeah, that's it.
4 rushing yards. So he really didn't have to scramble too much. He had time to move around and just make some accurate throws, and he was putting them on the rope. I mean, he had some great throws to Zay. Bateman had a couple catches. He had a good one to Nelly. So he was sharp. He was sharp on Sunday. I just like the way that we're starting to see Todd Monken's offense as he hyped it up to be when he first got hired. He said, "Hey, my job is to put guys in space." What are we seeing now? We see Justice Hill in space 2 times a game. We didn't see him. We didn't see him in space as much this game because he was running a crispy little wheel route down the sideline.
Wheel route, that was nice, man. That wheel route was nice.
Yeah, we're seeing Zay in space. We're seeing Nelly in space. Like we're seeing that. We're seeing guys getting in open space and Lamar making throws. So we're kind of seeing the offense that Todd Monken hyped up when he first got hired. So it's really exciting to see that. I'm loving it. I love the use of Justice Hill. He's been used as a receiving back, and I feel like that's what the scouting report was when we drafted him. He's great out the backfield, and I've said it time and time again. He's one of our best receivers, hands down. He's one of our best receivers. I mean, look, he doesn't have a lot of routes, but when he runs that wheel route, it's bye-bye. It's bye-bye. He's getting a catch. He's getting a 20-plus yard catch. So it was great there. And Derrick Henry, he does what Derrick Henry does, man. That man's a freight train up and down the field. I'm glad we're seeing the toss play early again because he was able to do some things there. But yeah, Derrick Henry did his thing. Offensively, I feel real good. Feel real bad Isaiah Likely's out right now because
I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything in the game to really make me feel that he was hurt. But that's a big loss there, just from a blocking perspective. But everybody's playing great, and we're adding more people. Well, I know you're going to talk about it later, but we're adding more people to this offense. But I said it earlier. In week 3, I was like, when have we been a top offense through 3 weeks? We're a top offense through, and it's week 10 now. We're the number 1 yardage offense and the number 2 scoring offense. Never happened in Ravens history. Never.
This is better than last year, right? We were a top.
Better than last year.
This is a better offense than it was last year.
Way better. Because for the first time, I don't feel uncomfortable watching the offense operate. Yeah. Like I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel scared. I did through the first couple games, first 3 weeks probably, but we feel confident in the offense. The offense is smooth. It's a clear identity. We go away from it sometimes, but we have a clear identity, man. We run the ball and get guys in open space. So it's good to see that. I'm happy about the game, and it was a nice drink a glass of red wine game.
And Justice was a second leading receiver for that day. He had 43 yards and 3 targets. Was it 3 targets or something? So yeah. What's up, Trey?
What's going on? As I just passed M&T Bank Stadium, it looked like it's rocking down there right now.
Yeah, people getting them tailgates, man.
Yeah, and I'm about to head through Fort McHenry Tunnel. So if I cut out, just keep it moving, man. Just keep it moving. But yeah, man, that was a nice game against the Broncos. And so I guess I'll just start with the defense briefly. Yes, we've seen a lot better showing, but just to keep it, all the way 100, Bo Nix just played. He didn't have the greatest game. I mean, he missed some big throws where, they probably could have had a few scores just off of throws that he missed. So I don't feel great about that. But I do like how the game started. I do like how we were getting them off the field. I like how our Darius Washington, he caught an interception. But just plays like that need to be made when opportunities are presented. We saw opportunities get capitalized on. But, just the same thing everybody's been saying. The pass rush isn't it. And we saw that throughout the game. We saw them get home a couple of times, but it wasn't good enough. So, obviously that's more of what we would like to see is pass rush. Not sure where that's going to come from or how we're going to get it, but we got to figure it out one way or the other. It cannot be that against Joe Burrow because, we can't have him have the same game he had the first time we played him. It's just, I don't think that's something that's going to fly on Thursday night where, Lamar Jackson has to be, the best player in the world, even though he is. We shouldn't have to ask that of him. So we got to do something with this pass rush. But other than that, I think the defense played solid. They made plays when they could have. They made plays when we needed the plays to be made. And, it was kind of like a bend but don't break defense, and they got us through the game. So, I mean, I'm pleased considering the circumstances. And as far as the offense, they deserve all the praise. I mean, Denver was a top 3 defense in every category. Mm-hmm. And we kind of came through and it looked like one of the most, efficient, game plans we've had. I mean, the coaching was phenomenal. If you notice, the game plan was slightly different. Just as far as some of their techniques and some of the schemes that we saw on offense, we saw them doing this outward motion that was kind of getting their safeties kind of, out of position. We saw them, we saw the same motions coming to the inside, but we saw receivers motioning outside wide. And, that created a lot of space for Lamar to the point where it threw them off pre-snap, but Lamar still was able to look guys off. And he was finding guys in space a lot of times. And Denver primarily ran zone that whole defense. And it just goes to show Lamar can pick you apart, whether you're running zone, whether you're running man. He's done it against both those types of defenses all year long. So it's kind of like if I'm a defensive coordinator, that's not the assignment I want, is trying to figure out what to do with this Lamar Jackson guy. And that's not even considering our run game. We're just talking about Lamar Jackson throwing the ball. Travis, I echo everything you said as far as our run game. Phenomenal run game. We're adding Keaton Mitchell tonight. So, I'm sure we'll get to that. But the fact that it is what it is already, and we're looking this scary on the ground, whether it's running the ball or just catching balls out of the backfield. You guys are talking about that wheel route. I don't know where it's been, but we need to keep that up. I mean, we've been missing that wheel route. I'm breaking.
That's your play. You've been advocating for that all year.
Yeah, that wheel route and the toss play. You can just toss play.
Toss play wheel route.
That's right. I'll be happy if we do both of those plays 2 to 3 times a game each. I'm good. I'm completely good. Obviously, they're going to game plan for it this week, but it seems to work, and Lamar seems to love throwing that pass. That pass is always on the money for him. And there's also another play that keeps them honest on the outside, throwing the ball on the outside. So just phenomenal job by the offense. Lamar Jackson didn't have to contribute on the ground whatsoever. That kind of tell you the type of day he's been having. It's just a beautiful game to watch. Those are the games that we need. Games where he gets to sit down in the middle of the fourth quarter and just relax and move on to the next week. Like, it was just a complete dominant offensive performance. And, I'm going to still shout out the defense because we did only allow, 10 points or whatever. But yeah, the pass rush, we got to find a pass rush this week. I don't know, or tonight, I'm sorry. We got to find a pass rush. I don't know where they're going to get it from. I don't know if they got to put Project Pat back on the D-line or something. I don't know what we're going to do. But we got to do something. They got to get creative at this point. At this point, the talent may not be there for the pass rush we need. So this is when your coaching is supposed to, put the big boy pants on and figure it out. So,
Yeah.
they didn't make a move in the offseason, so the coaches are now accountable on getting it done. So we'll see what happens tonight. Overall, good game, and that was just a very, very dominant win against a very good team.
Yeah, I think another thing too about Lamar just playing on against the Broncos. He only had 1 day of practice last week. He was out most of the week. He suited up for Friday, which is usually walkthrough day. That was it. He suited up for Friday, and he went out there and just played like it was nothing. Again, I feel like when you got a generational talent like that, and he can legit just all right. He doesn't. They made it basically without saying. It was like he don't need to practice. Like Lamar don't need to practice. Everybody else does. Lamar don't need to practice. Like he knows his offense well. Like you guys are saying, he's looking defense. He's looking defenders off certain areas now, keeping guys in space, and he's moving around. And I mean, like you said, guys are sitting all wide open now. Like before, almost every pass used to be contested, but now guys are wide open. Tight ends are wide. Like everybody is wide. The red zone throws, for the most part, when they get in the red zone, when he's throwing the red zone, they're pretty much wide open. Like they're good. They're doing really good jobs of just sitting in space, waiting for Lamar to give him the ball. He's getting him the ball. I'm going to need Bateman just to get his hands back that he had 2 weeks ago, because he had a pass Lamar had kind of peeled out to the right and threw one right in his hands, and he was ahead of the defender, and I think he was looking upfield before he caught the ball, and he just dropped it. And I was just like, man, because if he had gotten away from that guy, that was going to be 6. There was nobody in front of him, and he just dropped it. So we'll see again. We'll see if Deontay gets some targets tonight. I'm not expecting a lot. Lamar has been doing another thing is what he's been criticized for in the past was just looking at Mark Andrews, just looking at 89, because he's throwing to Zay, he's throwing to Nelson, he's throwing to Andrews, he's throwing to Kolar, he's throwing to like 7 different guys, and at every game he's not keying on one person anymore. He's not keying on anybody. I've noticed though, but I'll give credit to Monk, and they have been making sure to get Zay going early in the games. Like he's getting 1 or 2 catches like in the first quarter. Like they're getting him ready to go because they know they're going to need him in the third and the fourth to make some kind of splash play, like he did at the end of the first half, make some kind of splash play in space to get into the end zone. So if you're adding another like a Deontay Johnson type, a guy that can securely catch the football, and maybe you move Bateman into that Nelson Aguilar type role, it just gives you a lot of depth now on offense, especially. And I guess we take it to now. So now that Keaton Mitchell is being added to the mix, not sure how much he's going to be utilized tonight. He has been healthy for the last 2 weeks. I think they said he hasn't had any hiccups. Like he hasn't had any issues running. He hasn't had any hesitancy or at all. So I'm not sure if he's going to be using the wheel routes or out in space, and how he's going to be utilized with Justice Hill. They kind of have to work out what that ratio is going to be. But I mean, now that you're going to be able to now not have to necessarily beat up Justice Hill anymore. Like he can take a couple plays off, just keep him ready to go and just keep him healthy, and then you go to Keaton Mitchell. And like I said, Trey, like you imagine that toss play to Keaton Mitchell on the outside. I mean, come on. That toss play that Keaton Mitchell outside is going to be dangerous. If it's dangerous with Derrick Henry, you already know. Like Derrick Henry takes a few yards to get going. Keaton Mitchell's going to. That's another thing I'm looking forward to.
If that play is blocked, if that play is blocked perfectly,
yeah,
it's a good night. Not a safety in the league that's going to catch him.
I'm looking tonight is if they give him some enough runs, how explosive he is. I got to see if there's if it looks like he lost a step or something from that. But if it looks like he has it, I think we're okay. Like you said with Justice Hill, he had an Achilles injury and he hasn't lost a step. So I'm hoping against hope here. I'm hoping that if he has the same explosiveness, this offense just got that much better for sure. All right, week 9 around the NFL real quick. Cowboys lose to the Falcons. I think they just given up. And then on top of that, they trade Jonathan Mingo for a 4th round pick when the Bills got Amari Cooper for a 5th round pick.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I know the record doesn't say they're done yet. They're like 3-6 or so, whatever now, but they're done. It's a wrap for them.
What'd Dak say?
He said, "We suck."
We
That's what
effing
I said.
suck. And that's facts.
On the sideline, man, that encapsulates the entire season for the Dallas Cowboys, man. It encapsulates the entire season. But I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about that. But go ahead.
I'm just glad he said we, because just make sure he included himself in that mix.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you really want to know how incompetent that organization is, they traded a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo when we got Deontay Johnson for just a swap of picks.
Yeah. Like, was it 2026? 2027? Like, that's like two years down the line. Like,
that's insane. That's insane.
The Bills beat the Dolphins, even though Tua is currently playing at this point. I'll ask you guys real quick. Do you think it's time for the Dolphins maybe to assess everything from coaching on down to the players at this point? Like, they made all these moves in the last few years. You know, you get Mike McDaniel, the whiz boy, the boy wonder, to calling plays and stuff. You get Tyreek Hill there. You got Jalen Waddle. They signed Odell Beckham in the offseason. He's only played – has he played 2 games? Something like that. Jalen Phillips, I think, is out for the year. He tore his AC on the first game or something like that. I think it's time to assess everything in Miami. Their goal was to beat the Bills this year. That was the goal. We have to beat the Bills this year to win the division. And I think since Mike McDaniel's been there, I don't know if he's beaten the Bills like in prime time, like when it mattered. Every time the Bills played him in a pivotal game for the division, they end up losing. Now, it was a tight game. They lost 30-27, but he can't win. I think Mike McDaniel's he's a good coordinator. I just don't think he's a good head coach at this point.
And to be honest, the team isn't as talented as we thought they were. The team isn't as talented. You know, they got Tyreek Hill, they got Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Mostert, Devin Achaney.
Mm-hmm.
But defensively, what do they have outside of Jalen Ramsey?
And they Xavier Howard? Is he a free agent still? I don't know if anybody signed him.
Yeah, I think he may be, but
yeah, they let him walk. So I mean,
they're trying Tyus Bowser's, what's left of his Achilles out there.
His angry knee, angry leg, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, his fully insured knee. So the talent is really not there across the board. And you mix that in with the head coach that doesn't seem to inspire this team. He just seems to inspire the clipboard. They're looking really rough. And granted, you can shoot them bill for Tua and that whole thing over the past 3 years, just because that's a tough thing to keep trotting out all these different quarterbacks because your quarterback keeps getting concussions. But, I mean, the offensive line isn't great. The defense isn't great. I mean, you're putting a lot on 3 players, and I'm saying that is Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. That's a lot on 3 players, and it worked early on when it was fresh and new. But since then, we've seen a huge dip in not only their offensive production, but their defensive output. Mm-hmm. So it's time to reevaluate it all, top down.
Yeah, I'll give him a little bit of credit just since, Tua has been out, and, the fact that he hasn't been able to practice or play, it's going to take him more than a game to get back in rhythm. You can kind of see in that Bills game, they didn't obviously put their best effort forward, but they started to come along towards the end of that game, and maybe that'll, help them out going forward. I think it's going to be a little bit too late for them this year, obviously, but I think the offense is talented. But I do agree, the team overall is not, it's not a great defense at all. But the fact that, Achane, Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, it's like, and Waddle, he's like injured every game weirdly and comes back. It's just, he does it every time he plays. It's a lot of weird dynamic with that team, and I think they might have just missed their window with the super team that they did have when they did have actual solid defense that was a part of it. It's just unfortunate with the Tua situation. Obviously, that plays a role, And I think they're kind of playing on eggshells a little bit with the Tua situation. Like it's not the most comfortable thing to have him back in the locker room if I'm his teammate, because it's like you want him to sell out for you, but at what cost? So, it's kind of hard to get back in a rhythm when your guy's been down and out. It's not really just a plug and play situation at the quarterback position almost at any team. So, we'll see. We'll see if he gets back in a rhythm, but it might, like I said, it might just be too little too late.
Yeah, I think the thing is too, it's even just going forward in the future, knowing you have a quarterback that has these concussion issues. I mean, you can't be and you paid him, you signed all this money, but you can't be secure every year he's gonna be out there that this is gonna be it. So it's like, I don't know. Like, you signed Tyreek Hill to a lot of money, you got a lot of money wrapped up in Tua, and it's just like, what do you do if you're Miami at this point? Like, it's kind of like you're just kind of stuck. Like, I didn't understand why they signed with all of that money, because knowing you as a team, knowing, and your medical staff knowing this man has severe concussion issues, and you're going to sign him to a long-term extensive contract, like, to be your quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years. Like, it just didn't make sense to me at the time. But if the Browns can sign Deshaun Watson to all that money, it don't put it past me. Don't put it past me. A lot of these teams, sadly, when they're starving for quarterbacks and need quarterbacks in their team, they're willing to do almost anything to have these guys stick around. And it seems like it's shooting. A lot of these guys are shooting themselves in the foot, team franchise wise. Like, they're setting themselves up for like the next 45 years. Look at the Browns. Browns are going to be stuck with that Deshaun Watson contract unless something else happens. They're going to be stuck with that money for the next 3 to 4 years. So they can't really do much of anything. I think I saw with the Browns, they're going to be like, not the Browns. I'm like, the Saints. The Saints are the same situation. They paid Derek Carr that money, and he's been out. I think he just came back like last week. But they're going to be like $80 million in cap hell beginning of next season. That's to start the offseason. $80 million in the cap hit. So they have to cut a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. They got to release a whole bunch of players before they even get to just zero. I don't know if they're going to be able to sign anyone outside of draft picks next year. So a lot of teams have built this bad. Dolphins are one of them. And it's just weird saying, like, beginning of the season, we thought this was going to be a 3-team race for the division. And the Bills right now are going to just kind of jog, walk, whatever, crawl, whatever you want to. They're going to, like, just ease their way into the division title. That this is nothing impeding them from not winning it at this point. So, of course, the Chargers beat the Browns after the Browns beat us. I knew it was going to happen. Jameis throws 3 picks in that game. He looks like, Jameis had a great game against the Ravens, and then he has one of his worst games against the Chargers. I knew it was going to happen. I'm like, the team that whoever plays the Browns next is going to embarrass them. It's going to make our loss look even worse because we lost to the Browns.
You see what happens when you catch the ball?
Yeah, 3 picks, man.
He's below average.
There was no inspiring quotes from that game. Who else was it? Oh, the Bears. Bears losing to the Cardinals 29-9. Look, I get like Caleb's a rookie and everything, but he hasn't been playing great football this season. Like, it's been up and down. He's had a couple good games here and there, but it's been very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. And with everything they have on offense, and to hit 9 points, that's it? Just 9? Like, I don't know. If it feels like the Bears, like, look, you pick your guy, right? They wanted Caleb Williams. They did everything they could. They got him all this talent on offense, and it looks like Jaden Daniels was looks like now, at least Jaden Daniels is the better pick. Again, now he's a rookie. Look, Caleb's a rookie. A lot of rookies have bad first years. It is what it is. It's also the Bears. He's playing a tough division on top of that too. The Vikings are good. The Packers are okay right now. The Lions are the best team in football outside of Baltimore. So it's a tougher division he's got to play in. But with a franchise that's been begging for a quarterback, a star quarterback, trying to win in their division, trying to get back winning, it felt really good in the first few games, I think, for them. But now I feel like Bears fans are just sitting back like, oh, this may take a couple years to get him to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and they still have offensive line issues like pass protect. I mean, granted, Caleb Williams does hold on to the ball a little long, but he's getting cooked back there. His
Yeah.
offensive line, I mean, he's been getting hit all season. Like they're just hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. Pause. But like, I mean, it reminds me of another Bears quarterback who's now with the Steelers, Justin Fields. It's the same problem. That problem has not been resolved. They really need to upgrade that talent on the offensive line. I mean, and I'm going to shoot Caleb some more bail because Keenan Allen has been a shell of himself. I mean, those injuries are taking a toll. He is a shell of himself. Um, and he hasn't. He granted he's never been a speed demon, but he has struggled to get separation. He struggled on 50-50 balls this year. Um, so there's some other outlier things, but yeah, Caleb has not transitioned to the NFL the best. Just reading the field, processing the speed of the game. Um, I mean, he has to step up, and it's going to take some time. Like he has some growing to do. It looks like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't, on paper, it looks like the organization set him up for success. I mean, all of the weapons they acquired, DeAndre Swift, and they had Keenan Allen, which, like you said, he's not playing, like we're used to seeing him play. DJ Moore. Seems like he's been set up for success, but, you know, the offensive line, like you said, it just hasn't been up to par. And it's kind of hard being a first year QB to have any success when you're not protecting you the way they should be. So, I don't want to judge him too much because, like I said, he's a rookie and it's his first year. I think he'll figure some things out, and hopefully the organization will kind of learn from their previous mistakes with other QBs that they've tried to develop. But they're gonna have to probably do that sooner than later. I don't think this is something that they want to play around with for 2 years because you know 2 years could be enough to damage a quarterback for a long term, for a long time. So hopefully he'll figure it out. There's been flashes. He's had games where he looked pretty good, but they have to somehow find some type of consistency with blocking for him, and then hopefully everything else will open up. But it's not going to be this year. He's going to need more time, and hopefully he'll have a better offseason to get him situated for year two.
Yeah, they've been knocking the lip gloss off of that boy.
Yeah, it's look, he's playing Chicago. Look, it's gonna get colder there too, so he better be prepared. Another game, I'm just gonna because the viral moment of the week, obviously, Eagles against Jaguars. Even though the Philadelphia Eagles barely beat Jacksonville, look, I'm tired of Shady McCoy going on, what was it, the facility and stuff. I'm talking about the Super Bowl Eagles are back. Like, y'all barely beat the Jags. Barely. That game shouldn't have been close. Like Nick Sirianni, I don't know how many times this man gonna go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, or just in the red zone and not kick field goals. Like he's going for the touchdown every single time, going for 2 points, but doesn't need to. Like Nick Sirianni is holding the team back. Nick Sirianni is the Philadelphia Eagles version of John Harbaugh. Like he's holding them back. They could be a really good football team, but he gets in their way, making these games that they should be literally dominating the other team, making it too close for comfort. But obviously, a play of the day, Saquon Barkley with eyes in the back of his head, hits a spin move on the ground and then does a 360 hurdle jump over somebody. They showed the view from the sideline with the Eagles players. A lot of them just had this, just looking like, how do you do something like that? Then, of course, the NFL apparently drug tested him yesterday. I think they drug tested him yesterday after he made that jump. I don't think I've never – now, look, I'm not going to go over it crazy because they talked about it for like 3 days. He legit got like a yard or two off of that jump. Like, I can understand if he did that into the end zone or something like, that would have made it even more like it's a nice hurdle, don't get me wrong, but it was for like an extra yard or two. Like it's not, make this out. This was a game winning catch or something like that. It was a phenomenal athletic feat. Okay. But the topic is like the Eagles. The Eagles are like the Ravens. I feel like they're a good team. They have a good, solid team. But I think we've also seen with the Eagles, the other thing we got to talk about right now is A.J. Brown. He's not healthy, clearly. He left the game again, I think in the Jags game. He's He plays the beginning of the game and then he leaves because of another injury. Something I guess is still aggravating him. I think that's his leg or something like that. But he's the last 2 weeks now, he's had to leave the game early because his injuries keeps aggravating him. I don't know if the Eagles are just like, because it's a bad spot to be in, because we've seen how bad this offense looks without him. They know we don't have a passing offense without AJ Brown. It's really bad to see that as soon as AJ Brown leaves, they can't run a passing offense. So it's almost like, I don't know if the team is forcing him out there or if he's forcing himself to be out there every week, but it's just, I don't think it's good long-term for the rest of this season. If he keeps playing hurt like this and he severely hurts himself and then he can't play the rest of the year, now they're just going to be ass out. So even though they won the game, there's still some problems there. Saquon is having a Pro Bowl, All-Pro year right there, right now. But they got to figure out to be able to have a decent passing offense without A.J. Brown for a few weeks so he can get himself right, because he clearly isn't.
Yeah. You said it all, man. They got all the weapons. Nick Sirianni's holding them back with bad decision-making. Yeah, I mean, they could easily be a much better or have a much better result as a team, or just be a better team with a different coach. I mean, when you think about the weapons on the offensive side of the ball that aren't being utilized, it's pretty insane, or not utilized well. The team should be a lot better than what it is. And that's really all I got to say about the Eagles. We lost Trey.
Okay. Let's move on to our Bells and Pookeys.
Ooh.
Bells and Pookeys. I don't really have a lot. I think the Bells, because I feel like this past week was just kind of, it was kind of meh. I guess I would give it to just Lamar Jackson right now. Like I said, man only played practice one day last week and went out there and only barely ran the football and threw 280 yards. And I think he did it in under 20 passes. So, but that also shows, I think it just gives us the bell to the Ravens offense and Todd Monken. That the fact that the Ravens are now efficient now. Lamar doesn't have to throw 35 times to get the ball down the field. Guys are making plays after the catch. Guys are getting open, finding space. They're running the football well in many different ways. They're running it outside, they're running it up the middle. They're doing little toss plays. They're doing wheel routes. Everybody feels involved in this offense. And I think that's the best thing about this offense is it feels like no one has necessarily a big head about, I need to be getting the football. And everybody understands the goal. Everybody understands this offense runs through Lamar and Derrick Henry. Everything else is complementary. The goal of this offense is if Lamar can be consistent in throwing the football and Derrick Henry can be he's consistent in running the football and getting his chunk yards, we can kind of do everything else around that. And it's playing that way because when they're running the ball well, the defense backs up, and the Ravens are doing a really good job of just taking what's given to them. How many times have we complained about the Ravens? Like, it felt like everything was 20 yards downfield. Like, every pass play was 20 to 25 yards. Like, where's the underneath stuff? Like, where's the intermediate stuff? And we're seeing it this year. We're finally seeing it. And I don't know if it's like, is Monken just kind of like, I'm going to take more control of this offense now. I'm not necessarily going to do what Harbaugh and them kind of want to do, kind of simulate more of the Greg Roman style offense. Like, I'm going to do the offense I ran at Georgia. And we said that, I think, in the first couple of weeks. Like, this doesn't look like the Monken offense that he ran at Georgia, but now it's starting to look like it. Like, he did the same thing. He was getting the running backs involved, the tight ends involved, the wide receivers involved. I mean, if you can turn Carson Beck into a national champion at quarterback, and you got Lamar Jackson back there, they're probably the most athletic quarterback you've ever seen since Michael Vick. I mean, you couldn't ask for, a better gift, if you're an offensive coordinator, the way he's drawn them. So kudos to them, the Ravens and the offense, especially the offensive side of the ball, for just taking this offense to a whole nother level for this season. That's my bell.
Cool. I'm gonna go with like 2/4. So first, I want to just give the love to Sam Darnold, man. He continues to put up numbers every week. I've been waiting for him to have that hard fall off. But going against Flacco, putting up the numbers that he did, And granted, he has Justin Jefferson, who is clearly the best receiver in the NFL. It's not even close. Sam Darnold's look real good. I guess my other bells, my other three bells, I want to give it to free agent running backs. Top three rushers in the NFL: Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. All three of them weren't wanted by their previous team, so they went and tested the free agent market.
Yep.
All of them put up numbers this past week. All of them put up at least 93 yards of total offense and scored this past week. And, we have two running backs who are potentially pushing for 2,000 yards rushing, and Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. So I want to give a shout out to free agent running backs. Hey, get your bread,
your money, man.
Get your value, because those boys they're making a whole bunch of difference for their teams, and their value is incalculable, and their value is way above what they're getting paid. So shout out to free agent running backs.
And it's real ironic considering, like, what was it, I think not last season. I think maybe last season, when running backs were really adamant about the fact that, like, they felt like they were being shortchanged salary wise. And you look at this year, with, like, the passing numbers have definitely come down a lot. Like, they're not seeing a lot of these 300-yard passing games anymore. Like every now and then, but now most of these games are like 250, 265, 270, around there. But you look at the Eagles, you look at the Ravens, that's how their teams are winning. If Derrick Henry is not getting his touches or getting his yards, the Ravens don't win. Same thing with Saquon. If Saquon's going off, the Eagles are probably winning that football game. So I think it's those two guys alone may be saving their position as far as salary wise, showing the importance of having an elite running back on your team if you're going to have playoff chances. Because I think a lot of coaches and franchises or owners are thinking that, yeah, we can just go get a fourth rounder or a fifth rounder and we can supplement that. Like, nah, if you got an elite guy back there, he's going to take your team places. And so shout out to them for sure. All right, let's go to the Bells. My bell is Marcus Williams for just letting Bo Nix catch a touchdown on you. I mean, that's just you come back getting benched, whether it was your fault or not. I don't know the politics of it right now, but you come back off getting benched to let Bo Nix catch a touchdown on you. Like, that's one of those, like, if I was a defensive player, I would have hit his helmet from him for the next drive. Like, just sit down. Sit down. I would have took his helmet and just hit it somewhere. Like, nah. Like, you let the quarterback go out wide and catch the. I mean, and it wasn't like he did like a little back shoulder. He threw it up there. Like, it just hung up there.
He mossed him.
Yeah, that's my
big
bell.
Bodied him.
And then my other bell is the Tennessee Titans for trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Everybody should know the memo right now. Everybody should have gotten the memo. Don't trade anything to the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't trade anybody. Don't give them cash. Don't give them food money, lunch money. Don't give them anything. Nothing. Because DeAndre Hopkins went out there the other night and just nowadays they got momentum now. And the Kelsey thing's gonna come up to. I'm just like, come on, man. You can't keep giving them outs here. You keep giving them outs. Gotta stop this.
All right, so I got a bunch of Pookies. Let's start with this. The Raiders quarterback room. Look, they fired the coaches, whatever. Quarterback room's awful. Yo, Gardner Minshew, I don't know how he lost to them. I'm not going to dwell on it. But Desmond Ridder, I was watching Desmond Ridder command that offense on Sunday, and he honestly looked like when you pick yourself as a walk-on in Road to Glory, and you're just trying, and you can't do anything. Like, everything's inaccurate. All you can do is throw it to the flat. And, you're always throwing two incompletions, and then you try to go for it, and you barely make it, or you try to run because you can't do nothing else. That's what Desmond Ridder looked like. He's awful. You know what he is? Everybody said he's a grad assistant.
Yeah.
He's a grad assistant. Cowboys, I mean, that organization, the quarterback, the team, they're just a disgrace to football. I hate to say it like that, but they just are. That's just awful. That's awful football. And then, man, you took my other one, but I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I don't understand how that game was close, so maybe I should give a Pookie to Nick Sirianni too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to toss him one, but we know what that's for. But Jaguars really play awful football. Trevor Lawrence is really awful. I don't know how that game was close. It shouldn't have been close. But the Jaguars organization, y'all suck. Y'all really suck. So those are my Pookies for today.
It feels like that loss to the Chargers in the playoffs broke the team. I think it broke them. I feel like it broke them. They haven't been right since. They haven't been right since. Oh, and Corey was like, EDC gets Pookie for not getting a pass rusher, and everybody else did. Knowing this, I mean, look, I was saying this to my coworker who I was with, for the game, and it just feels like I tweeted this too. It feels like the Ravens wait a year too late to get the help they need right now, because last year there was all this talk about at the trade deadline of getting Derrick Henry, and I felt like they had the ammo to go do it. They didn't do it. If Derrick Henry was on that offense in getting the Chiefs game, Ravens are in the Super Bowl, possibly winning. But then they go give them the offseason. Same thing here. They had a chance this offseason to go get some pass rushers, to draft one or something. Didn't really do it. They were out there. So Darius Smith again went for a 5th-round pick. I feel like the Ravens, they got 11 picks. You could have gave them a 3rd or 4th round. I would have given a 4th rounder for Darius Smith. I would give him a higher pick. You didn't do it. And I feel like I don't mean to be pessimistic, but it feels like this is one of those things that if we look at this team in the playoffs and they get knocked out, it's because they didn't have a pass rush. Because when they go play in the playoffs, you're going to have to go against Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. Josh Allen at that point, and that point of every season he's in the zone at that point. If you're letting Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes sit back there for 4 or 5 seconds,
it's a wrap. You're not winning the game.
You're going to have to score 60 points, man. No, you're going to score 60 points. It's something crazy. So, I hope they find a way. Like Trey said, I hope they find a way to scheme up something. They're going to have to do something with scheme. They're going to do something to try to simulate some kind of pressure, because guys winning one-on-one, it just ain't working. It's just not working. All right, let's get to Bengals preview tonight. So, also we know Isaiah Likely is out of the game. We also know Brent Urban is out, still hasn't cleared concussion protocol, which is to be expected because it was a short week. So I knew he wasn't going to play. So I think Michael Pierce is on IR as well. But they are getting, I think Travis Jones is going to play tonight, sounds like. So you do get some interior defensive line help there as well. Obviously, the big news we saw like an hour ago, Keaton Mitchell has been activated to play tonight in the Bengals game. This is definitely my belief that they're trying to ramp him up to get ready for that Steelers game. So I don't know how many snaps he's going to get tonight. Obviously, if he's 100% healthy, I think it's going to probably dictate how the game is going. If the Ravens feel like they're kind of in control, they'll put him out in some spots just to kind of get his feet wet, so to speak. Just get him back into just used to being out there and getting used to the speed and everything else. If it's whatever. But if it's a tight game and they feel like they can utilize his speed somewhere on the field, he might get some more burn out there that way. So we'll see. And also, I think tonight, too, we'll probably expect to see a little bit more we'll probably see a lot more from Deontay Johnson tonight, especially with Likely out. So you're going to be basically down a receiver. So I expect Deontay Johnson to be out there a little bit more as well, see what he can provide for this offense. On the Bengals side, T. Higgins is out. At this point, I think T. Higgins is doing like the hold-in. I think he's doing like Lamar did when Lamar was going up for his contract. He had the ankle thing, and then Lamar was like, I ain't playing until I get my contract. And I feel like T. Higgins is like, I wanted my money in the offseason, so I'm just going to sit out until I get my money at this point. Like, I don't care about this team. I want to get paid. So he's sitting out. So he's out. But that's a big one, though, because, he's their big receiving threat over the top. To be honest, he scares me more than Jamar Chase does, because he is that red zone threat. I think Jamar Chase is always just going to go off against us. He's going to get his 100 yards. He's going to break a few plays here and there. But having T. Higgins, if you get into the red zone within 20 yards, because of his ability to go up and get the football, and he's a big physical wide receiver, and he can block downfield, helps provide stuff for the running game, losing him off the field is a very different team. Very different team. And I think it's going to help the Ravens. They'll be able to double up, I think, on at least bracket, Jamar Chase, do something. And you got, was it Andre Eo? what's his name? Iyoshua?
I don't know how to say it, but he's nice with it.
He's really good. He's really solid. Good, I think he's really good. So, but now I don't know. Is Tre'Davious White playing tonight? I'm not sure. I know they just.
I don't know. I didn't see him activated.
Probably not. He literally just traded for him on Tuesday, so he's probably not playing tonight. But Wiggins is out there. Marlon's going to be out there. So the receiver secondary combo, I think, definitely benefits the Ravens for the most part. I think as long as they realize, like, if they can keep Jamar Chase in front of you, don't let him get deep. Don't let him get. I think they can survive that. Running back wise, Chase Brown, he's been pretty good for them for the most part. I think he started, because Zach Moss got hurt. So he's been pretty much getting the first team snaps at this point. He's pretty solid there. Joe Burrow, look, they just put up, 41 points on the Raiders this past weekend. So we know they can score, but they're playing at home tonight. We got the purple on purple on purple. The purple helmets debut tonight. Excited to see that. With the weather's going to be nice too. And the way the Ravens are rolling right now, I think with the Ravens stealing that game in Cincinnati, I think that was the win they need. That was the huge win in Cincinnati. Huge win. Because I just think I'm not going to say tonight the defense shows out, because I can't say that any night. But I think if the defense can hold them to under 30 points, the Ravens can win this football game. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think if they can get some picks, get some turnovers, and Marlon's out there, and they can get some picks, maybe Marcus gets one. I don't know. But they can force some turnovers, because I think I was telling my friend at the game, the way this defense is going to have to win football games from now on is they're going to have to get takeaways. Either let them kick three, they kick a field goal, or get takeaways. That's the only way I think I see this defense getting off the field. Like this, the bend but don't break. Don't let them score touchdowns. But if the opportunity presents itself, you can get forced fumbles and get interceptions. That's how this defense is going to have to operate, just because with not adding a pass rusher this past Tuesday, I just don't see, unless Matt Abike becomes the Hulk all of a sudden and just starts, becomes Aaron Donald, gets like Aaron Donald's, Aaron Donald gives him like his playmaking ability he had with the Rams, and he just starts just throwing dudes around or whatever, and just like getting pressure by himself. He hasn't really been doing that this year like he did last year. If he's not able to get that interior pressure, I just don't know where it's coming from. So unless they're doing the cornerback blitzes and stuff like that, field goals and takeaways for the defense.
Look, the pressure is on the Ravens tonight, and I think they're here to show up, man. I think they're here to show up. We got the purple rising uniform. I know MNT, they're going to have a production out there. The place is going to be amped. I guarantee Ray Lewis is coming out that tunnel for Thursday Night Football, and he's going to show out. Now, we have to play solid defense. We got to play physical. We have to play physical. We have to get to Joe Burrow fast and hit him. If we don't get there, we need to get our hands up. I feel like Jameis Winston. We got to get our hands up. Get your hands, your elbows. But we got to get our hands up and knock some balls down. Like that's going to be the key. We can't let them sit back there and just throw that thing vertical. Because Jamar Chase, I said Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league. Jamar Chase is definitely number 2. Mm-hmm. So we have to create a pass rush. We have to get back there. We have to knock some passes down, and we have to play sound football. Look, the players are copping and caping and shooting bail for what's my man's name? Zach Orr, and saying it's not on him. All right, well, if it's not on him, I need y'all to execute. I need y'all to communicate. All right. If I see Mike Gesicki come across that middle, I expect Kyle Hamilton to knock the snot out of him. I'll pay the fine. I'll go take it out of my 401k right now. Knock the snot out of Mike Gesicki, okay? If Jamar Chase goes deep, look, I got to strap it up, Stevens. Strap it up. All right? We have to play good defense. And I think the energy is going to be there. I think they're going to give up points because Cincinnati is talented, but I think we're gonna force some turnovers, and I feel like that's what we need to do. We have to make plays. I want to see a Darius Washington out there roaming the field. I want to see him getting a lot of playing time. I expect him to get 60 to 70% of those snaps. Like that needs to happen. He's hot right now, and I think he has a better understanding of the defense than Eddie Jackson. Probably better than Marcus Williams. Offensively, I'm gonna say the same thing I've said every week this year: balance, balance. Run that ball, set the tone, run the tosses. With Henry, Keaton Mitchell, get Justice out of the backfield. Justice need to get at least three receptions today. Get Zay in space. Get Rashad in space. Rashad, don't let the ball hit you in the face. Make the catch. Look at the intermediate routes. Look for Nelson Aguilar, Lamar. Be sharp. Stick to your fundamentals. Like, make plays. I think that's what we got to do. And we got to pass protect for Lamar. It's a very simple game plan every week. Very simple game plan every week. We just got to execute. So I want to see less penalties. Penalties will always kill us against good, talented teams. So we offensively on that offensive line, we have to not hold and false start, just get dumb stuff. But I think we have everybody in place. I feel like we'll miss likely some, especially blocking. But Kolar is more than capable of handling that load. Pause. But that means we're also going to need Andrews to block better. Because Andrews is probably the weakest blocker at tight end. And I forgot my man Deontay Johnson. We got to get him involved.
Yeah.
I want to see where he fits in his offense. Are we going to hit him in the quick screens? Are we going to send him deep on a 9 or a post? I want to see how we utilize him. So I think we got to get him involved, man. I think he needs to get like 4 to 5 targets.
Yeah.
He does. We got to see what we have here. I think he's a playmaker. He's familiar with this Cincinnati team. He's been in the AFC North. He knows what it's about. So I want to see us get him involved. But outside of that, balance. That's the key to this game. That's the key to the Super Bowl. We have to have balance on offense. That's when we are our best.
Corey said here that he's been hearing that a lot of team players aren't a fan of Chris Hewitt being elevated in the coaching room, and the players don't like him. I think he's like a special teams coach or something right now.
Well, he was the assistant secondary coach, then he got elevated to the secondary coach and pass game coordinator. But he's also, the thing with this year is he's the assistant head coach now. So I'm wondering, maybe is it that because he's been a secondary coach for a grip. Yeah. So hey man, maybe he's feeling himself now that he's the assistant head coach, overstepping boundaries. That's possible. Corey, you always come with the rumors, man. What do you be? Are you on Twitter?
Where do you hear this stuff, man?
Twitter, because you be coming up with some stuff I have not heard.
I feel like Corey be sneaking into the
Corey,
castle in disguise. He be
Corey
in disguise.
Yeah,
Corey, all the inside info.
He got the maintenance man uniform somewhere for the Ravens, and he just be sneaking into the castle, man. You're a little secret spy. Oh, you listen to the fan all day. All right. Cool. Yeah. And Corey know it all.
But no, so this is another thing that Corey brought up that we've been talking about, I think, offline too, about now with Tre'Davious White being on the team. I think not this game, but at least for the Steelers game. And maybe going forward, does it, because of how bad the safety play has been, and they kind of want to leave Kyle alone. They don't really want to take Kyle away from what he's doing. Like, he does his thing. Would it be the best maybe option possibly to move Stevens to that other safety spot with Marcus to help out a little bit?
I think, I think I was a fan of it if we brought in another corner that's going to play that outside. I'm not fully confident on Tre'Davious White just because he hasn't played in a while.
If it was Marshawn Lattimore, you'd be
if it was Lattimore, even J.C. Horn. If we had pulled the J.C. Horn trade off, I feel very comfortable. I think Brandon Stevens can thrive in a hybrid role where he's playing, one of those safety positions. I think he would really do well and then he can also come in the slot, come outside when we need to. But I think he'll thrive in that safety role. I think he can make plays there. So, yeah, I'm a fan of it. I just don't think we have the personnel to do it yet.
Okay. So the last game obviously saw was Lamar threw 4 or 5 touchdowns or something in that game. Joe Burrow threw 4 touchdowns in that game. There's points being scored all over the place. Do you feel like that's going to be this game? Because I have the feeling that it's not. Everybody's been talking about it's going to be, we expect a high scoring game. And every time the media always expects a high scoring game, it doesn't end up being that way. It ends up being a lot closer. Do you feel like this game could be a mirror image of a few weeks ago? Or is this a little bit more condensed, a little bit more like strategic kind of game where they're going to have to, it's going to be, pick your spots kind of thing for both these teams?
I think it starts out slow. But I think the second half of this game, I think both these teams are going to be fighting hard.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a high scoring second half.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm putting it. I think it's still going to be a shootout, but I think early on it's going to be very physical. And then like kind of what you said, strategic. But I think second half, it's out the window. They're going to be playing to win the game, and they're going to have to put up points to win the game.
I'll say this: if the defense, knowing what we've got coming up, like knowing what we got coming, we got the Steelers week. Steelers week is almost here. Steelers week is almost here, and yeah, they got to get ready, man. They got to get ready because the Steelers offense with George Pickens and them, and you still got to deal with Najee Harris, and their defense is elite. Their defense, I know that statistically the Broncos defense is one of the better defenses in the league, but the defense the Steelers defense is different. Just different.
Different monster. Yeah.
It's different, man. And it's like, dude, you got a guy at home, a game record in T.J. Watt, and then you see how Joey Porter Jr. is playing right now, outside corner for them. I'm mad he's playing with the Pittsburgh. I'm a Penn State fan, so he was playing with Penn State. I'm mad he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kind of mad about that, but no, they know what they got coming up. So this offense got to be fine tuned. And again, I don't think this defense has to be perfect tonight. I don't expect them to be perfect, but if we can see that the coaches are doing something to try to simulate some kind of pressure and get pressure on the quarterback, then I think it bodes well in going into next week. That's going to be the key for for tonight. I think the offense is going to be the offense. I don't expect the Bengals defense to do much of anything against the Ravens tonight. Like I don't expect that at all. I think the Ravens offense is humming right now, and they're going to do their thing. The key for this game tonight is going to be, can that defense? I'm pretty sure they've watched that Bengals game from a few weeks ago 1,000 times at this point, just picking apart what they did wrong and letting Jamar Chase go off and all that other stuff, and just like trying to fix some things here. So what did Corey say? When another front office is going to learn they need to take the teams they draft their weakness, since we can't hit on pass rush. Yeah. It's not a bad thing to, like, if you hit trade deadline, it's like, we know we don't draft well right now, which is an odd thing to say. We haven't really drafted well since Suggs left. To be honest with you. Since Suggs left, we haven't replaced him, and it's fine to say, like, we've been drafting well in other areas for the most part, but we just can't. How many times we try to hit on pass rushers? Three times
every year.
It hasn't panned out. And now we got two of them. One of them's a healthy scratch now each week. David Ajabo, he's barely even playing. And Owe, almost Owe. So it would have been nice to go. I felt like the players were available for them. At least 2 or 3 of them were available to go get. And they went for low draft picks. So I thought that was a failure for me. And then you released the guy that you signed a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not waived him, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. Maybe that job will place tonight then. I don't know. Maybe he's not a healthy scratch tonight. So, but before we get out of here, scores. What we got?
All right. Let me go with Trey's first. Trey said 42-30 Ravens. That's Trey.
Okay.
He's been good at these. I think I'm gonna have to copy, man. I think I'm gonna go 42-35. Touchdown win.
I'm gonna go 50.
Whoa.
50-30. 50-30. No, 50-32. 50-32. I'm making a 30-point win, 20-point win. I don't want a 30-point win.
So you had a whole topic about the media hyping up a high score game, and then you break out a
50
burger?
points. Yeah, I know. 50 I just feel like, you're adding Keaton Mitchell tonight. Deontay Johnson's playing the second game. And we've talked about this offense just taking it to a whole nother level. I feel like this is the opportunity. This show the world, man. You're playing on prime time tonight. Show the world, like, hey, we were the best offense in the league, and we just got better.
Yeah.
So show it tonight. And I feel like, and I think the way the formula shows, right? You get Derrick Henry the ball 20 plus times. Lamar only has to throw the ball up to 25 times a game. That's about it. Around 25 times. He gets like 350, 360 yards, 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry get like 2 touchdowns. Maybe Deontay gets one. Zay gets one. I don't know. So Corey said 38-21.
38-21. All right.
Either way, it sounds like a whooping. That's what it sounds like. Everybody says it's a whooping.
Hey, Purple Rising. That's where we at tonight.
You bring out the special. You bring out the special color rush uniform, man. You can't lose. That's gonna look tough tonight.
All purple uniforms, man. All purple uniforms
with the helmet. That's gonna look tough. Love it. I can't wait. I can't wait. That's gonna look tough. But all right. Thanks you guys for watching. Hopefully the Ravens win this one tonight, and we have a easy weekend. Everybody have a safe, happy Veterans Day as we're off work. I think most everybody is off work Monday. Everybody be good. Chill out and everything, and we get ready for the Steelers in a week. So it's ready to go. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.